Knoxville, Iowa. Knoxville, Iowa. Knoxville, Iowa. If it's sprint car thrills you seek, those are the only two words you need remembered. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans, and welcome to our coverage of the Copenhagen Skull Shootout. Now, anytime you take the best wing sprint cars in the land, including all the World of Outlaw stars, and put them on a big, fast, tacky half-mile track like Knoxville Raceway, well, some pretty incredible things are going to happen, including those walk-away crashes we showed you from earlier Knoxville races. But what keeps us coming back, and 17,000 fans, is the incredible wheel-to-wheel competition this venue always provides. And one driver who has never let us down in that area is with my buddy Brock Yates. Brock?
Well, Steve, this automobile, this beautiful AD out of Arlington, Texas, has run 62 main events across the United States in sprint car racing and has won exactly 50% of them, 31 feature wins. And that great success record is obviously due to the man behind the wheel, one of the greatest sprint car drivers of all time from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Doug Wolfgang. And Doug, already tonight here at Knoxville, quick time in a very, very competitive field. So I would imagine maybe you're kind of looking for number 63.
Well, we're going to try, but it's not all just me. I have a good team, good sponsor, a good set of mechanics, a heck of a good engine builder, and it takes everything. Plus, you got to be lucky. And I'm fast time so far, but if, you know, I shred a tire or mess up my chassis setup or somebody spins in front of me, it's all over. So we'll just have to take it as it comes.
Well, you sure treated us to some great racing, and we wish you all the best tonight.
Well, I appreciate you coming. Thanks for having us.
Okay, Steve.
Brock, the first of 4 heat races forming up right now. The quick guys are all up the back. It's an inverted field. The top 4 will go to the A main. The next 4 will go to the B main, more aptly called the consolation.
Well, Steve, in case anybody's into numerology here, they ought to take a look at a couple of cars. And actually, 4 of them. We've got 2 77s in this field. Steve Smith Jr. out of New Oxford, Pennsylvania, and 77B Mike Brooks. But we got 2 11Xs, Gary Lee Meyer out of Dodge City and Jeff Swindell. Of course, we know about him. They made Meyer's car 111X, but they're both orange automobiles. Meyer starting up close to the front. Swindell's at the back. We've got a green.
And number 20, Mark Wilson, started on the pole. He is falling back to the point that Jeff Swindell, the 11X car, is passing already.
Well, of course, Jeff, one of the real strong runners among the Outlaws, trying to move up into one of those Ford transfer spots. He is now in a bunch of traffic as they come off turn number 4. There's Swindell moving underneath now. Steve Smith Jr. from New Oxford, Pennsylvania, and Tommy Estes in the 97. And there, hits a little bit down the back straightaway. Jeff falls back, and there you see Smith trying to get around him on the outside. All right, there is Gary Lee Meyer running in second place in the 111X. Right in front of him, that's Mike Brooks in the 77B. Remember, I told you about we've got 2 sets of twins in this race, which makes it a little bit confusing.
Well, Jeff Swindell in the orange 11X, better charge. He's in the 5th position. You got to be 4th or better to transfer. Just in front of him, Tommy Estes Jr., the 97 red car.
And look at this. This is Steve Smith Jr. in that red 77. Just flew past Gary Lee Meyer to take over the second spot. John Smith is a comer in this business. Steve runs very strong in the Pennsylvania circuit, but a lot of people look for him to move into the outlaw ranks as we watch him go by Brooks to take the lead. So we got a pair of 77 cars up front, but look at that. Here comes Jeff Swindell moving underneath Gary Lee Meyer to try to take over that 3rd spot.
And Brock, we have got 2 distinctive racing grooves here. One high, one low. If you're good, you can travel either one of them.
Oh, this is weird. A pair of 77s in 1st and 2nd, and a pair of 11s, or 111 as the case may be, in 3rd and 4th. There's Jeff Swindell down the back straightaway trying to move in on Brooks for that 2nd spot.
Well, this whole numbers game comes about because you're bringing cars together from all over the country, different organizations. You're bound to have some duplication of numbers. It just can't be helped.
Oh, yeah. There are over 100 of them here that came into this show. There is Stevie Smith Jr., really in command. He is something. He's a very strong runner, qualified beautifully here as we go into the race. race for second. And that, of course, is Jeff Swindell challenging Brooks as they go down into turn number 1. Brooks is a local guy, lives right here in Knoxville, runs here every week, so he knows the setup. And, of course, Jeff Swindell, one of the real regulars, runs all the Outlaw circuit coast to coast. Jeff still looking for the proper setup as the white flag comes out. Stevie Smith Jr., New Oxford, Pennsylvania, commanding lead as he will take this first heat. But Swindell, can he get by Brooks? Let's see.
No, he cannot. Brooks hangs on to the second position by a matter of inches over on charging Jeff Swindell. And there's our winner, cooling her down, Stevie Smith Jr. His first ever appearance here at Knoxville is a successful one. And it was impressive because he ran the high line, running right on the cushion, showing tremendous car control. And there is Jeff Swindell. He's a young man that can tell you the lifestyle of the outlaw touring sprint car driver. And one thing Jeff could not get along without is his trailer, which houses the race car and him.
Remember that old Frank Zappa movie, 200 Motels? Well, I can't remember it. I think maybe it had to do with the life of outlaw sprint car drivers, because believe me, these guys are on the road almost all year. And believe it or not, motel expenses can really run up the budget of a racing team. So a lot of guys, well, they're going to their own self-contained motor coaches. Now this belongs to Jeff Swindell, his crew chief, Kelly Pryor. They stay on board here over 100 nights a year. Neat little deal it is. This is the galley in here, of course, with a microwave oven, all the amenities of home that you might expect in here. A full bathroom, shower. Of course, it's got an onboard generator that runs the air conditioning and water pump and all the rest of it. And naturally a television with a tape deck. And of course, if you don't want to work in the kitchen, like everybody else, you just call out for pizza.
Brock, maybe we ought to have a rig like that, huh?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a super setup, and a lot of guys are starting to go to that kind of a deal rather than staying in motels. But the hero of the moment right now, Steve Smith Jr.
Well, Stevie, anytime you can get a checkered flag at Knoxville, even in a heat race, it's got to be a big thrill, especially for a young driver like yourself.
Yeah, it's a thrill to win anything here at Knoxville, and we're just happy to be here and running good, and we're looking forward to the big one if we can get in there.
Tell me about the racetrack. It appears to be maybe a little drier than we've seen it in past years.
Well, this is the first time I've ever been here, and
asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, as far as it being dry or whatever, it feels like the track's at home, to be honest with you. It's got a cushion, it's fast, and you know, it's a little slick in the middle, but it should make a good race.
Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock.
The wing sprinters are back on the racetrack here, the half mile at the Marion County Fairgrounds, Knoxville, Iowa, getting ready for heat number 2. But first, let's go to Steve with Jeff Swindell.
Well, Jeff, you were on a charge and then fell back and tried to charge again. What was going on?
Well, we got up through there pretty nice, and coming off a 2 over there, was going by one of the slower cars, and he got the car sideways, about spun out in front of me, and pushed me down into the mud. When he come back into me, and almost nailed him, and that let everybody else go back around the outside. And then we, you know, once you get out of the throttle here, or have to turn or make a bobble, it really kills you. So, you know, they got back away from him, and we charged him back down, but Smith was gone too far out. So
well, people say you used brakes on a sprint car. You used everything you had in that one.
Well, sometimes you got to. You know, it gets kind of hairy out there when them guys stop in front of you like that. When they invert 10 like they do here, it makes it really tough to get through there.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right, 10 sprinters ready to go, and 3 men to watch. Way at the back, the 8D of Doug Wolfgang. Look at that giant crowd. Over 17,000 people packed into these grandstands. As I said, Wolfgang, the 48 of Keith Kauffman in the middle of the pack, and Chris Each. Those 3 cars and drivers are very, very strong contenders in this field, Steve, but naturally, it's Wolfgang at the back that everybody is watching right now.
And don't count out Danny Smith, the 56 car there in the 4th row. He's a prime candidate for one of those 4 transfer spots directly to the A main.
All right, the field, 10 of them formed up 2 by 2, 10 laps in this particular heat. Coming down off turn number 4, looking for starter Doug Clark's green flag, and Mike Montgomery on the point. And we've got a green, Steve.
We're racing at Knoxville. Number 17J, John Barger up front. He's got, ooh, Knoxville, Iowa. We have got a real tumble in turn 1.
That is the 12T car of Mike Tweed, who started on the inside of the 2nd row and got pinched up against the outside wall. There you can see the rescue crews, and also critically important, the roll cage is absolutely intact. So it's probable that Mike is going to be all right, but they're going to check him out to make sure that he is uninjured.
And here, headed for the restart area, is the 4A car, Rick Unger. His crew will be dragging out a new left rear tire for that machine. Apparently, he picked up a little damage himself, but we'll be able to restart. Let's take another look at exactly how this all unfolded. In front of the red 56 car, driven by Danny Smith, is the 12T car of Mike Tweed. Danny Smith has no responsibility here. He had absolutely nowhere to go. Now watch the 8D car of Doug Wolfgang. Barely avoids the confrontation. Wolfgang came awfully close to losing his race car for the night. And if you'll recall earlier in his conversation with Brock, that's something he was concerned about. Let's go to the driver of the 56 car.
Steve, I'm with Danny Smith, who was involved in that little altercation right off the bat. Exactly how did it start?
I was going to kind of trying to go through the middle of the pack, and whoever that was turned sideways right in front of me with nowhere to go, and I hit him and knocked the front wing off and flattened the right front tire.
You hurt the race car at all?
No, we got it fixed. We're ready to go.
Okay, well, we'll be watching.
Thank you.
Well, it looks as if Danny Smith, as he says, has only received just minor damage on these very, very rugged race cars. There is Mike Tweed. He is apparently all right. They put a neck brace on him, but he's smiling, and I'm sure he's going to be all right. So we've still got a red flag here at Knoxville. Steve, what does it look like from your vantage point?
Well, the good news, Brock, is that Mike Tweed, the local driver, is out of the car. They took a while making sure they had a brace on his neck to prevent any further neck or spinal injuries. He's alert and mustering a smile every once in a while. Now, if you take a look at the wall, you can see why it rung his bell so very hard. The wing really didn't help a whole lot in this situation. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and went into it wing first. The roll bar and the wing braces knocking an incredible chunk out of this wall, as we can see right here. And this is pretty solid old timber right here. It took quite a lick. Again, the good news, he appears to be okay. Wow.
The hospitality we have seen here has been terrific. Thank you, guys. Well, we're looking for a restart of heat number 2. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates. The wreckage has been cleared, and we will start -1.
We sure will, Steve. Mike Tweed is definitely sidelined for the night, but we are going to come down for a restart with Rick Montgomery and John Parcher leading them down toward Doug Clark's green flag.
Look at this, 3 and 4 abreast, the kind of action that this racetrack is so famous for.
All right, that's the fact. That white automobile, everybody watching that 8D car of Doug Wolfgang. But meanwhile, up front, a great race for the lead. The 4A, the white car, Rick Unger going at John Barger in that red 17J.
And 8D, Doug Wolfgang still at the back, trying to mount some momentum. The 9 car, Montgomery falling back, Chris Eash in front of him. But what a good fight we've got up front. The 17J car of John Barger, that's the red machine. He is in the lead. Rick Unger still hunting him.
He sure is. Unger down low, Barger high as they head down into turn number 1. There's the Wolf, still back in 7th place, trying to move through the pack. And here's your leaders, and watch that golden black 48 of Keith Kauffman, the Pennsylvania. He has moved up among the leaders.
He has, in fact, taken the lead underneath Rick Unger. The blue and white 4A car pulls back into 2nd. Doug Wolfgang still following Chris Eash in the yellow 17E car, but they have both moved up. Eash is 5th, the Wolf is now 6th.
And there's the race for the lead. You can see that Kauffman has moved out on Unger and John Barger in the red 17J. There's Unger coming down the front straightaway. There you can see the interval, and Kauffman now has a big lead, but there is Doug Wolfgang challenging Chris Eash down low and will move by Eash to take over that 5th spot.
Look at Wolfgang fly, Brock. He is now in the 4th position, again passing on the inside.
And now John Barger in the 3rd spot falls to Doug Wolfgang, so he moves up 1 more notch and sets his sights on Rick Unger in 2nd. That is Unger up ahead there in that 4A white automobile, and look at the Wolf fly.
And you have to wonder, Brock, if after that crash in the original start of this event, if Wolfgang didn't say, wait a minute, let's be cool here, let's just transfer, let's not wreck our car, there's a lot of money to be made tonight.
Well, he's just blown by Unger to take over 2nd position. I don't know whether he can move in on Kauffman. Kauffman is way out in front, got a wide lead, so we now have Wolfgang sitting alone and unchallenged in 2nd spot.
And here's a good race for 4 spot 17J. John Barger in 17E, the yellow car of Chris Eash. Eash had a lot of some engine problems. In fact, they barely made it to the grid after installing a brand new power plant for this heat.
So he is kind of broken loose from that pack. So we've got Kauffman, Wolfgang, Unger, and Ish heading down the front straightaway here. And it looks as if, as this race unfolds, we're not going to see a whole lot more position changes, Steve.
Well, 17J John Barger, Brock, has just now fallen back one more. 1T Jeff Tuttle is passing for that 5th spot.
Well, look at this. Jeff Tuttle makes one last go as the white flag comes out. He's going to try to get around East for that 4th transfer spot, but I think Chris is going to be able to hold him off.
Well, there's our leader. That is Keith Kauffman, the black and gold car. Takes a checkered flag. The pressure now is on the 17E car, the yellow machine right there. That is Chris East. Can he hang on to 4th and transfer? Yes, he does. He saved a little muscle for that last lap, apparently, Brock. He extended the advantage over 5th place. And there is Keith Kauffman, the black and gold 48 car. The last time we saw that machine, you may recall, from Williamsville, Pennsylvania, it was driven by Jack Howden's. But driver changes at any time during the outlaw season are very, very common. So as Kauffman heads back to the pit area, ooh, look at this. Boy, could that be an omen? What a night for a man named Wolfgang. All in all, it is a perfect evening for sprint car racing. Very comfortable temperatures, a little humidity, which will help keep the track in good shape, prevent it from drying out. Official results, Kauffman, the 48 car, wins it. Wolfgang charges to 2nd from the back, then Unger and Ish round out the top 4 transfer drivers. Right now, let's go to Brock Yates with the winner of heat number 2, Keith Kauffman. Brock?
So as Keith Kauffman leads it off with a beautiful, beautiful drive. Keith, race car looked like he was just hooked up textbook style out there.
Well, yeah, we didn't time quite as good as we liked to. We were 6th quick, but we figured we could have been a little bit better. So Darrell, the chief mechanic, he worked in the car and he got her dialed in, and boy, she really went good.
Yeah, I noticed the guy's looking at the right rear tire and didn't look like it picked up any wear at all. It looked like the race car was really balanced.
Well, yeah, like I said, he did a super job getting the race car right, and you know, it makes my job look a lot easier too. And you know, he just did a super job. Thank the crew and everybody.
Well, you did a great job. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Keith Kauffman, one of the really strong runners in that very tough Pennsylvania circuit, runs the Outlaws and usually does a good job. As we go down to Doug Wolfgang and Steve Evans.
We know, Doug, about lap number 3, I thought, is that Wolfgang struggling back there a bit? And by lap 5, I thought, no, that's just maybe a more patient Wolfgang than we've seen in the past.
Oh, we weren't really going that slow. We were all right. Keith got out there in front, got a good start and got a good jump and went on, and I just got held up there. And I about got crashed on the original start anyway, so I kind of was... He was fast, though. I just kind of was cruising, trying to stay out of trouble, but I cruised too long.
See you in the main event.
Okay.
Let's go to Brock with 4th place.
But Chris Ishu in that number 4 transfer spot got to feel a little bit better. It was a kind of a rugged 10-lap run, though, and you worked hard, I know, to get up that far.
Well, yeah, you know, we had a tough time. We started, you know, in the 8th position, and, you know, we got going pretty good, and I kind of got out in the clear, and I was okay. About the last 3 or 4 laps, I started losing oil pressure, so we must have a problem with our engine, so I just kind of nursed it home in 4th, and you know, we're in the main. We're going to look at it and see what's wrong.
You had a big problem getting to the line. Even there was some doubt whether you'd even get the race car ready for that first heat.
Well, we had a new motor, and we were trying, and we got a little too lean and burned it down, and so we had to change it, and you know, so we were a little behind, but you know, seems like it might work out okay.
Okay, well, at least you're in the main.
Okay, thank you.
Chris Ish's crew is hard at work to replace another engine in this automobile. Now, Chris, as you know, had to nurse the car to a 4th place finish in that last heat. That's the 3rd engine this weekend to sit in this car. All right, they're lining up for heat number 3. We're liable to see a start this lap. That was a signal from starter Doug Clark. Again, at the very back of this group, Brock, we have got the real muscle, the quicker cars.
That's right, Steve. The man in the black number 1, Sammy Swindell, on the absolute back row, along with Rocky Hodges. And we've seen Rocky put up some great shows, a very fast driver. So Hodges and Swindell in the scratch position as they come down for the green.
And the way the points work out, all Rocky Hodges in the yellow 47S car has to do is be in the top 4, and he'll start on the pole in the A main to come.
And look at Swindell. A classic starter. He always charges hard at the green, and Swindell just muscled his way through 3 or 4 automobiles and has moved all the way up into the 4th spot.
Well, conversely, Rocky Hodges, who started in that same last row as the black #1 car, Swindell, he has not made that kind of progress. He's got it trapped at the back.
Well, Sammy takes a lot of chances at the start of these races. He is a master at getting through little tiny holes, and now he's already up in the third, having taken the Bobby Burrow automobile, the 1P, down the back straightaway.
And Sammy slides it up high. That drive wheel in the cushion, trying on the back straightaway to take the second spot away from the white 45 car of Ray Lipsy.
The leader continues to be Jerry Richard Jr. out of Minnesota. His dad, one of the finest of the IMCA drivers years ago. And Richard holding off the charges of both Lipsy and Swindell. Swindell, of course, one of the finest sprint car drivers of all time. As he moves through both of them and takes Lipsy on the outside, he'll have the lead coming off turn #4, but the caution is out. So that could nullify that pass by Swindell. Stalled up in turn #1 is the 14R Randy Rosenboom from Rock Rapids, Iowa, a local driver, experienced runner here at Knoxville. He apparently has just stalled the automobile, spun it, no apparent damage. They're going to have to restart him.
Remember now, this is a 10-lap heat event, and the yellow laps do not count. And Brock, as you know, the pass for the lead by Sammy Swindell came simultaneously with the yellow flag. And the rules require that he be put back where he was before that pass into the third spot. I'm sure Sammy will have no argument with that. He'll just try to repeat that move if at all possible. And I'm sure the fans are looking forward to seeing some more championship driving from Swindell, the great one.
And here comes his chance as Jerry Richard Jr. leads him off turn #3 into turn 4 down the front straightaway in the lead. But look at Swindell right away. Just flashed by underneath to take the lead. So Sammy Swindell reestablishes what he attempted to do just before the caution came out. That is taking the lead here in this heat.
That's right, Brock. Sammy went on to take the victory, leaving the rest of the field to fight over the remaining 3 transfer positions. Now, here's how heat #3 ended up. Sammy Swindell wins it. Jerry Richard in the 1X car picks up the second spot. Ray Lipsy, a game day for Ray. The 45 car takes third. Bobby Burrow, well, he sweated it out for the battle for 4th position. He'll go right to the A main in the 1P car. The cars of the B main already out on the Knoxville, Iowa half-mile, warming them up, getting ready for an all-important race to them. You got to be in the top 2 to go to the A main. It's kind of a last-shot effort for these drivers, and we like Kansas a lot too. Thank you all. Well, Chris Isha's crew continues the engine change. You know, they don't have a whole lot of time, and they are deep into the toolbox. There's a saying, Brock, if you have to take the hood off a sprinter, you're beaten. And they have had the hood off more than it's been on. There's a whole lot of work ahead of them on that car before the main event. Let's hope they can make it. Meanwhile, we're ready to go with the B feature. It's desperation time, since only 2 of these guys transfer to the A feature.
Well, this is a tough deal. We've got a bunch of cars that we saw run earlier, everybody trying hard. These guys, generally the less experienced fellas, the less well-funded teams, the guys that are working hard to get their careers into shape with a little bit faster automobiles, a little bit better preparation, and more money in their pockets in the racing budget. But they're going to try hard, and some major talents perhaps here in the future.
Boy, it's always amazed me, these sprint car starts. If everybody doesn't get on the gas at exactly the same time, well, you got a train wreck. But this time they all do, and headed down into turn #1 is the yellow car of Rocky Hodges, the 47S car, to nobody's surprise here. He should be the strength of this field, and right now appears to be.
The battle for second, that is Jason McMillan in the 32U and the 12 car Cliff Woodward. There they come, trying to move in on Rocky Hodges. Rocky now, right now, moving out a little bit. They got about a 5-car length lead over the second place automobile as they head down the back straightaway. There is the 12 automobile of Cliff Woodward. He is on the high side. McMillan down low in the 32U, that red car. The white car, the 12 of Woodward, goes low into turn #1, trying to get underneath McMillan. Off turn they touch, and McMillan and Woodward. Woodward takes a terrible hit into the outside fence at turn #2.
And to make matters worse, 56 Danny Smith trying to get through the accident, got involved instead, and he is out there laying on his side. But right now, the concern really is with Cliff Woodward, who appears, Brock, to be unconscious in the automobile.
Yes, and not surprisingly, because he took a very hard impact. Cliff Woodward out of Kearney, Missouri, started second and was running in second place when he tangled coming off turn number 2 and took a terrible hit.
And both drivers were leaving each other plenty of racing room. It was Woodward that had just gone under McMillan for that second spot, and suddenly on the back straight, just coming out of 2, the car slid up high for no reason at all. Jason McMillan had nowhere to go except hit that little nerf bar on the back of the 12 car. That was all it took to turn it sideways and full throttle head on into the wall.
Absolutely. Cliff had to be on the throttle absolutely full as he was coming, accelerating off that corner. A giant disintegration of the race car, and then Danny Smith tags him in the 56 automobile to add perhaps even more injury to this very unfortunate driver. There you see Woodward rolling crazily, tumbling down the racetrack after hitting that steel Armco barrier, and here comes Smith, tagged him again. A very, very serious accident.
As you can see, Cliff Woodward is being extricated from the remains of that automobile. He has a gash over his left eye and appears to be conscious, talking to the safety crews. That's always a good sign. There's a suspicion here of a broken shoulder, a broken arm, and some wrist damage, but nothing that won't heal. Well, there really weren't many position changes as Rocky Hodges went on to win the B main. Jeff Tuttle held on to the last transfer spot in second place. Ronnie Daniels took third.
Well, we got one race left here at Knoxville, the A feature. The heavy hitters are underway and warming up their engines. And earlier, Steve and I had a chance to talk to the front runners. Steve with the pole sitter.
Well, thank you, Brock. I found Kenny Jacobs here sitting on a Goodyear tire trying to gather his thoughts for the A main to come. What's going through your mind right now?
Well, actually, right now, we weren't even talking about racing. We was kind of laughing, talking about home. But we thought a lot right after the race about our tires, our setup a little bit. We decided what we were going to do, and we're just going by that plan, and we're not going to change a whole bunch from that. And I'm getting to relax a little bit right now, really.
Well, then I'll leave you alone.
That's okay. That's okay.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Brock.
Well, Steve, I'm with Jeff Swindell. Is going to start on the outside of the front row. An excellent place to begin this whole deal. It's 20 laps. It's got to be a tough one. You got a bunch of guys behind you, but the race cars seem to be pretty well hooked up. I know you made some changes after the heat.
Yeah, we weren't really bad in the heat, but we were probably half second off what Sammy was running, and he was really the only fast car out in all the heats. So we made a few changes. We got kind of messed up there in the heat race and got nailed and run back to third, you know. But the car's going pretty nice. You know, everybody's working real hard and doing a good job. And, you know, if I do the setup right and the boys got everything together, which I know they do, then maybe we can pull it off.
Good. Well, we'll be watching. We wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, Jeff Swindell. Steve?
Well, thank you, Brock. I'm with Keith Kauffman, who'll be starting, inside the second row. Not bad.
It'll be a pretty good spot. I think we got the car better, so I think we'll be in good shape.
You know, it appears, just walking out on the racetrack as I just did, that the middle might be a little bit slick. Everything else looks real good.
Well, yeah, the track's getting a little slick, and like you said, the middle's definitely slick, so I'm sure all the fast guys will be running around the top right up next to the boards.
Including Keith Kauffman?
Right.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock.
Well, Steve, I'm with Doug Wolfgang. Is going to start on the outside of the fourth row in this A main. And, Doug, I would imagine, even though you had quick time, the racetrack's changed a whole lot, and there are a bunch of other fast guys out there. So what's the tactic? In a big, long race like this, do you make a charge right to the front, or do you lay back a little bit, or is it just you play it as it goes?
No, you're going to have to be running right off the start because there's going to be enough fast guys in the field tonight. They're inverting 8 cars, and all the 8 cars are fast. And the track looks like it's slick right up to a cushion and run around the top wide open. That means the guys out in front are going to get a good jump on the field. If you're not really handling and don't get right down in there into turn 1 fast, they could be stretched out even in 1 or 2 laps far enough where you could never catch them.
Does that mean that you're just going to stay on the high side off the green, or will you try to duck down inside?
I don't know. I just have to see what happens as we come down the front straightaway with the guys in front of me.
The very analytical approach of a Doug Wolfgang. You know, Brock, you've got to be a terrific driver just to participate in the traditional sprint car salute to the crowd. With 4 abreast at only 25 miles an hour, if you made any wheel-to-wheel contact, it could be a disaster on a paint flap.
You also got to pay attention so you get back in line in the proper position as we get the big wave here in this giant crowd. That's estimated over 20,000 here in addition to the people in the stands. The infield is jammed full of folks and the back straightaway. So an enormous bunch of people from all over the Midwestern United States come out here to watch these guys run. And look at this field. There is Steve Smith and Doug Wolfgang in that row 4. Boy, is that going to be a shootout between those two.
And right behind them is Andy Hillenburg, who we saw so impressive in his heat race. Now, this has all the ingredients to be just a super feature race. Now, one thing that will happen here in this feature, traffic. Traffic will be a big factor, something we haven't seen in the shorter heat races, but you can bet it'll happen here. And this crowd is on its feet anticipating the race of the night.
As we get ready now for a start of the 8 feature.
And it is Jeff Swindell on the outside, going up high, trying to pick up the cushion. The orange 11X car on the inside. 51, Mark Kinser. Kinser had the lead momentarily, now slips back into second.
One of the famed racing Kinsers out of Indiana, Mark Kinser, one of the best. Mark did a beautiful job on that start and almost snookered Jeff Swindell.
Doug Wolfgang has the white 8D car in the 3rd position. The battle for 4th is the black and gold car, 48 of Keith Kauffman and 29 Kenny Jacobs.
Well, the crew of Kenny Jacobs got to be scratching our heads in the pits because he is advancing to the back very rapidly. Something obviously the matter with that 29 car because he started on the pole and is now falling back and about to perhaps fall into 7th place. There is Sammy Swindell in the black number 1. He is fighting it out from this spot with Andy Hillenburg. And already now they've gone by Jacobs. So Kenny, big problems with that car.
Well, as I said before, lap traffic sooner or later is going to be a factor in this event, and it may be sooner. For the 2nd spot, 51, Mark Kinser, 8D, Doug Wolfgang on the inside, and they are coming up on traffic. The Wolf is a master at using it to his advantage. In the 2nd spot, the 51 white car up high of Mark Kinser, and just behind him in 3rd, likewise the white 8D of Doug Wolfgang, and they're moving up on Jimmy Moyle, a lap car, the 5T machine, and look at the Wolf in action.
Jimmy Moyle out of Adelaide, Australia, one of the few Australians up here this year, as the Wolf now sets his sights on 51, Mark Kinser. Mark Kinser, a serious player, a good runner, so I don't know whether he's going to have an easy time of it or not, but he is.
Could you believe that? Doug Wolfgang, coming out of turn number 3, made a 3/8 mile track out of a half mile.
And he made an easy job of getting around Mark Kinser, which I'll tell you what, is never as simple as Wolfgang makes it look. Oh, we've got a car slowing here. That 15M Terry McCarl, he is out on the back straight, coasting to a stop. That could, yes, it'll bring out the caution. Doug Clark, the starter, waves the yellow. That will stabilize the field here for a moment, and for at least a brief period of time, Steve is going to delay that charge to the front by 8D Doug Wolfgang.
It will allow the field to bunch up just a little bit under the yellow. Here in the feature, just like in the heats, the yellow flag laps do not count. Terry McCarl is okay, didn't make contact with anything. Apparently his number 15 sprinter just let him down one way or another, either engine or drivetrain. Now, with the truck behind him, they may try to get him restarted and back into this thing. We'll check on that when we do indeed get a restart. You know, earlier, Brock Yates had a chance to find a sprint car that many of you may remember. A car of tremendous historical importance in this sport, and one that Brock thought you just might like to see one more time.
Each year, more and more old sprint cars show up here in Knoxville in perfectly restored condition. This one, a prime example of the art. They call her Old Blue, and she has won perhaps more big features than any other sprint car in the modern era. 146 wins overall, including 2 here at Knoxville. The Knoxville Nationals went to Kenny Weld in the seat of this car in 1972 and 73. It's the Weikert Livestock automobile, still carries 29, just like the new versions do. It was built in 1971 by famed sprint car builder Floyd Trevis in Youngstown, Ohio, and was just recently restored by Ed Clapper out of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, and put back in absolutely perfect running condition. 327 Chevy on board, alcohol burning, just like the modern vehicles. But this one, well, it's perfect, and it just is great to see these wonderful old race cars being put back in pristine condition.
And it's wonderful that the folks here at Knoxville take the time to bring those cars in, put them on display for all the fans, young and old, to enjoy. The restart is coming up. Jeff Swindell out in front of the 11X car. Doug Wolfgang now with the yellow is pulled right up on his rear nerf bar. You can see right there the orange 11X, the white 8D. Here we go.
And look at Wolfgang down low, trying the low side on Jeff Swindell. Jeff up high as they come down to take the green. It's a drag race down into turn number 1. And Wolf looks as if he's going to take it. Yes, he slides up, but look at Jeff. Tried to kind of exchange positions there and tried to go low, but thought better of it. And it looks as if Wolfgang's going to have the lead as they come down to complete this first lap after the restart.
And for the second spot now, it is Jeff Swindell, the orange 11X, and Mark Kinser. He's got somebody else to do battle with here, the 51 car from Indiana. And here comes the black number 1 car of Sammy Swindell. Swindell and so much for brotherly love as he puts Jeff in the weeds and now sets his sights on 51 Mark Kinser, the second place runner.
Well, Steve, remember earlier we heard Jeff say that this is a momentum racetrack. These guys run this thing almost flat out. I think Jeff got a bad start, and he just lost all that momentum that these other guys have, and now he's going to have to play catch-up. He got a bad start, got a late start, and now Kinser, Wolfgang, and his brother have all moved by him.
Indeed, and I don't believe his car is handling all that well either. When Doug Wolfgang made that pass on him, the car was almost sideways on the straightaway. Here comes Swindell, still trying to make up some ground on tough Martin Kinser. Boy, he is a rugged guy.
He sure is, and a very genial kid. As we watch Mark Kinser hold off the 1 car of Sammy Swindell, these two guys contesting for second spot as Doug Wolfgang has moved out of our picture and has got a big lead right now.
Well, Sammy Swindell, who has driven Winston Cup stock cars, Indianapolis cars, but here is where he's at home. At the wheel of a 1,300-pound, 800-horsepower missile, a giant wing bolted to the top for traction downforce, and look at that. Swindell hit something on the racetrack, a wet spot or a hole.
He did, but he almost looped it. He used all of his considerable skill to gather up that race car, and now has moved back in to recontest Mark Kinser for second spot as they move into some lap traffic. This is going to get interesting. That is the 1P of Bobby Burrow, the red car, and the 15 of Terry McCarr. Remember, he stalled and has restarted now. So these leaders are going to have to thread their way through.
The favorite place to pass seems to be going into turn number 3. Let's watch one more time and see if Swindell can execute there.
There's your leader, 18, Doug Wolfgang, way out front, sliding through lap traffic with no apparent threat right now.
Oh, Wolfgang taking them to school on this one. The battle for the second spot. The white car of Mark Kinser, the black car of Swindell. Swindell this time goes high and gets him coming out of 4.
White flag as Sammy Swindell takes over that second spot. Has his eye on Wolfgang, but Wolfgang probably a quarter of a racetrack ahead of him. I don't think there's any chance he's going to run him down.
Now, I can't imagine, even if Wolfgang right now were to have an engine problem. There is Wolfgang. He has won the feature race here tonight in Knoxville, and the crowd has gone mad. This is where he began his sprint car career. They consider him to be a hometown boy, even though he lives in South Dakota.
Right. The Copenhagen Skull Shootout A feature goes to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, champion Doug Wolfgang in that car, and yet again another feature victory. That keeps his average at 500, Steve. For every 2 races he's entered this year in the feature category, he's won one of them.
And that's like hitting 500 in Major League Baseball.
Well, here's the man who dominated the A feature here tonight at Knoxville, Doug Wolfgang. Fantastic drive, and Steve is with him.
Well, they are howling tonight in Knoxville, Iowa, as one of the all-time crowd favorites here. Doug Wolfgang has won the feature. Terrific job, Doug. I don't think there was a soul in the place, said just in his shoes here, that didn't think you were going to ambush Jeff Swindell on that restart. You sure enough did.
I don't know. Jeff took off real strong. He was running real strong. We got tied down out in the middle of the track there. I pulled my wing back there on the restart for one corner. I could run out in the middle, but I couldn't run against the top. So I pulled it back, and I got out in the middle and got by him, and then the darn thing had a power steering leak, and it didn't have enough pressure in it to pull the wing back ahead, and I had a heck of a time running the cushion the last few laps.
Well, that explains about lap 12 or 13 why it got high and almost up against the wall in turns 1 and 2.
It was pushing, it just wouldn't turn, and is either back off the throttle and wait for it or carry it on up in there and hope it turned at the end. So I just carried it on up there hoping it turned.
The Wolf never backs off. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Brock?
Well, that's what makes him a great champion. Other lesser men might have been a little more cautious and not won it, but he went on to a major victory. Sammy Swindell, Mark Kinser, Andy Hillenburg moves up into 4th. Steve Smith Jr. in the 5th spot. Rounding out the top 10, both Kenny Jacobs and Jeff Swindell faded late after mechanical problems. Rocky Hodges in 10th. And now let's talk to Mark Kinser, who finished 3rd.
Well, Mark, with some smooth moves in the early going there, I thought, boy, here's the dark horse. Here's the guy that could do it all. I think you were thinking the same way for a while.
Yeah, there we got a really good start. I don't know quite what we got a hold of. And, of course, Doug and Sammy and a few other guys, too, they never got out of my mind. I knew that sooner or later we'd have to deal with them. And Wolfie come into the picture, and he was fairly fast. So he was on his way, and then when I got around Jeff, I kind of thought I might be able to hold down second, and here comes Sammy. You know, it's one of those type of deals.
Again, good drive.
Thank you.
Boy, we agree. Great show by Mark Kinser and all the other drivers here in the Copenhagen Skull Shootout.
Friday night in Knoxville, Iowa, and the excitement started early on with heat number 3. On the pole was Bobby Burrows in the 1P car. Next to him was Glenn Bertner in the 21X car from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. Well, Glenn was soon to get his eyes wide open. Watch those 2 cars. They took the green, charged down the front straightaway. Everything just fine. A good dice into turn number 1. Side by side into turn 2, shooting down the back stretch, but into turn number 3. It is Burrows into Bertner, Bertner into the wall. The car stands right up on its nose and is hit hard by 26 Rick Bramer, who also sends 1M Mark Wallenda tumbling end over end in the turn 3 area. Take a look again. On the inside of the red car, that is Burrows. He tags Bertner, slides right into him. Bertner into the wall, and it looked like for a moment he might be able to keep from getting upside down. But that was not to be. But here came the real damage when the 26 car, Rick Bramer, tagged him right in the wing area, the car doing a pirouette. We're happy to report that all of the drivers, including Glenn Bertner, involved in this incident are A-OK and still at the racetrack. A little shaken up, but that's to be expected in an incident like that. Also, earlier on Friday evening, the B main took place. It was Brian Tobin winning at number 68, Tom Whiting, Rick England, Kenny McCarl in that order, with Bruce Young rounding out the top 5 in the 1Y car. But only the top 4 go to the A feature, and here it is. 20 laps of racing here in Knoxville, Iowa. The Racy's men have worked so hard for to make all night long. Thundering down into turn number 1, they're bumping towards the back. Number 30, Rick England, is crowded by 2X Bruce Moore. Rick had nowhere to go but into 21B Steve Beitler, and that started a chain reaction involving Kenny McCarl in the 4C car, the yellow machine, Brian Tobin in 68, Tom Whiting in 96. Now watch at the top right of your screen, and you can see right there where England got nerfed by Bruce Moore. And interestingly enough, the 2 guys really at the front of this train wreck suffered the least amount of damage. In fact, the 21B car of Beitler trying to get back in it, the officials are saying no, there's too much front-end damage to this car. For his own safety, they're going to park it. All right, it's time to restart the A feature minus Beitler. 800 horsepower, 1,250, 1,300-pound race cars, an incredibly high power-to-weight ratio in the modern-day sprinters. Circling out of turn number 3, looking for the green flag as they exit 4, and here it is. Rich Bubak in the red number 9 car takes the high line up on the cushion. Taking the low line is 21, the blue car of Mark Schaefer. Both drivers hooking up well wherever they decide to take those automobiles. Let's see if Schaefer stays down low. He still is riding in second spot. Bubak getting a tremendous launch off that cushion in the corners. Now Schaefer with a low line pulls even. Led for an instant, but it is still the 9 car. Rich Bubak holding on to the lead here in the A feature event. There has probably never been the perfect dirt track, but this one tonight here in Knoxville is certainly close. Look at Jimmy Sills right in the center of your screen. The 7N car from California, moving inside, yes, and passing the 111X car of Gary Lee Mayer. And now moving in on Randy Turner. He got him too. Randy had started in the second position. Look at the 55 car. Terry Thorson, he is closing in on number 21. Mark Schaefer currently in the second position. And look at 1X Jerry Richard Jr. He blows right by the 55 car to take that third position. Some incredible driving going on in this A feature event here on a beautiful warm Friday night in Knoxville, Iowa. Jimmy Sills has battled his way in the 7N car from the back of the pack to the middle, alongside, now by number 5 car, the orange machine of Randy Turner, and now has his sights set on the 27 machine, Jerry Big Jr. He has got Jerry Big. He is driving like a man possessed, trying to save his reputation. And how about Big? He is not taking it laying down. Big has come back and repassed Jimmy Sills. Sills ducks high. Still on the inside is Big Jr. Now Sills gets right in behind him and comes down low, maybe where he ought to be. And this time he is going to make that pass stick. And how about Jerry Richard Jr. in the 1X car? He is challenging Mark Schaefer, the 21 machine, for that second position. High on the outside is Richard Jr. On the inside is Mark Schaefer, who formerly was second place in this race. That now belongs to Jerry Richard Jr. And Jimmy Sills, the 7N car, continues his progress as he gets by the number 85 car of Bob Ewell. Still advancing at a steady pace throughout the field. He's now in the 6th position. He started in the 18th spot. Jimmy Sills really making some progress finally on this weekend. Now 1X Richard is challenging number 9, Bubak, for the lead. There is Bubak up high and taking his line. Right behind him comes Jerry Richard Jr. in the 1X car. Richard making some progress now. Bubak, if he knew he was there, would have to be nervous. Now going down low where his car performed so well is Jerry Richard Jr. He still cannot quite get enough momentum. Now he does. Now he does. Bubak goes high, and that puts Jerry Richard Jr. in the lead for the first time tonight, taking over from Bubak of Golden, Colorado. The new leader, Jerry Richard Jr. himself, is from Forest Lake, Minnesota, and he and the rest of the guys tonight are showing all of us why Knoxville is so popular. The racing just doesn't get much better. We skip forward to the second to the last lap. 7N Jimmy Sills has moved into 5th and is closing in on 21K Steve Kent and 21 Mark Schaefer. There's the 21 car. And there is the 7N car of Jimmy Sills. Sills ducks down low and pulls it off. Jimmy Sills wants more. Mark Schaefer now on his side. Schaefer better not get too high, as some have done. Jimmy Sills has moved from the 18th spot on the grid clear up to 3rd position. Incredible driving as we go on to the very last lap. Can Sills get any more? Rick Bubak is just up in front of him. Here we see Jerry Richard on the inside, the 1X car. He is going to take the checkered flag. Let's check back in with Jimmy Sills. Sills is down low. And yes, he takes the 2nd spot. The drive of the night has got to go to Jimmy Sills from California. And here's the final result of the A feature from Friday. Jerry Richard Jr. won it. He started 9th. Jimmy Sills came from 18th to 2nd. Bubak started on the pole and slipped back to the 3rd spot, followed by Schaefer and Kent. Well, now it's time for Friday night's traditional mystery feature. Just how do you qualify for the mystery feature? Don't ask. I think that's how it got its name. On the pole is the bright yellow car of number 83, Rod Henderson. He's from South Dakota. Next to him, Pennsylvania Flyer, Donnie Kreitz, the 69K car. And the green flag is out. The mystery feature is underway. Ooh, and look at the move down low that Steve Smith Jr. made. The maroon number 77 car, also out of Pennsylvania. He's going to be a real contender for this. Jimmy Sills, the 7N car, also moving to the front. Oh, big trouble on the back straight. A nasty multi-car crash. Emergency workers already on the scene. Let's see if we can tell what caused it. Right there in the center of your screen, the orange 23 car Jeff Gordon got sideways, and that caused a 4-car pileup. 21B, Steve Beitler, 21K, Steve Kent, 17. Ronnie Daniels, all involved in this one. And the report comes that all of the drivers are A-OK. They are out of the cars, and that's good news. I talked to Steve Kent when it was over.
Well, Brock, everyone took a hard ride in this one, including the 3-time California champ Steve Kent. Steve, you okay?
Yeah, when the thing came back down and landed, it landed backwards, and I saw it. I was way up in the air, and I knew I was going to hit pretty hard, and when I hit, it just kind of jolted me right in between my shoulders, and I just kind of feel like I got hit with a baseball bat or something.
Okay, it's time to restart the mystery feature. And let's hope it's a cleaner start than we saw in the initial go-round. No laps are in the books as of yet. The crash happened on the very first lap. The original time they tried to start the mystery feature. The yellow car, number 83, Rod Henderson, started on the pole, is still there out front. Making a nice move on the high side is the 77 car of Steve Smith Jr. Whoa, that's going to be a nasty one. Henderson slid up and gave an unintentional shot to Steve Smith Jr. Jimmy Sills in 69, Donnie Kreitz from Pennsylvania. They are right behind those leading two. This is one heck of a battle. Steve Smith Jr. extending his lead. Sliding down on the inside, you saw Donnie Kreitz Jr. Here is Kreitz again on the inside, trying to get around Henderson in the yellow 83 car, and he is going to do it. And here is Henderson battling back in the center of the racetrack. Now he goes high, maybe too high. Donnie Kreitz Jr. holds on to that position, but Henderson certainly is not going to give up. And 5M, Jack Hewitt, has moved up to challenge Henderson for that 4th position. Hewitt started 20th, the veteran from Ohio, and what a move he is suddenly putting on this field. He has got around Henderson. Jack Hewitt now running in that 4th spot. So now Jack Hewitt, the 5M car, sets his sights on the man running in the 3rd spot, the 69 car of Donnie Kreitz Jr. Well, I tell you, Hewitt really showing why he has such an impressive scrapbook at home. 5M has got around. He is going to has taken that 3rd spot, but can he hang on to it? It sure looks like it. Well, I'll tell you, the mystery feature may go down in history as one of the most competitive races of this entire Knoxville Nationals weekend, thanks to men like Jack Hewitt and that 5M car who have moved up so strongly from the rear of the field. Just an incredible race here in this Friday night program. The track's still as good as it was when the green flag fell. And we have got a yellow flag out. That is the 3Y car of Danny Young. No crash involved here, no contact with the wall. He's out of the car to inspect what appears to be, yep, a flat right rear tire. So the hook is out for Danny Young. His race is over. And in just a moment, in fact, how about right now, a restart of the mystery feature. The 69 car, Donnie Kreitz Jr. on the inside. He has the lead. On the high side is Steve Smith Jr., that maroon-colored car. And now it's Steve Smith out a few car lengths on Donnie Kreitz Jr., but anything can change when one rides high and one rides low. This terrific competition continues in the mystery feature. And now a big battle settling up for that 2nd position. Donnie Kreitz Jr. and 5M Jack Hewitt. Hewitt on the high side. That's the 5 car, staying low like he has throughout this mystery feature is Donnie Kreitz Jr. His car seems to work much, much better down on the low. Where you don't want to run now, and you don't see many drivers doing it, is in the middle of the course. If it's slippery anywhere, that's where it's going to be. Still, it's 69 and 5M for that 2nd position. And Donnie Kreitz Jr., even though he takes the shortest way around this half-mile oval, still cannot stay ahead consistently of Jack Hewitt. Now look how high Hewitt gets, just putting that huge right drive wheel into the cushion. Donnie Kreitz Jr.'s car is not productive up there. Maybe better try it again because he's not getting anywhere this way. Oh, this is like a match race between these two men for that 3rd spot. Just terrific racing action. Now on the high side, Hewitt starts to extend himself. Look at this. Here's the race for the 8 spot. 83 Rod Henderson and 14 Eddie Gallagher. Henderson, who started on the pole, has fallen back to 8th, and Eddie Gallagher would like to put him a little further back than that if he possibly can with his 1D car. Uh-oh, we've got another caution out. This is the 15M car, stopped on the track. Des Moines, Iowa's own Terry McCarl has some sort of a mechanical problem, apparently. He started in the 4th position, so we've got another restart coming our way. And again, let's pick up that battle between 69 Donnie Kreitz Jr. of Pennsylvania, 7-in Jimmy Sills of Placerville, California. Kreitz was in the 3rd spot, Sills in the 4th spot. Still the leader is Steve Smith Jr., the maroon 77 car, as they take that green flag. And now it is Jack Hewitt in the 5M car, a serious challenge. In fact, he has passed for the lead, but Smith comes right back. Donnie Kreitz Jr. getting into this. They bump and run a little bit. The 77 and 5 car, a 3-way battle for the lead. Awesome competition. Steve Smith Jr. has a firm hold on the lead, but all eyes are on that battle for the 2nd position. And staying low as he has throughout this race is Donnie Kreitz Jr. Staying high as he has throughout this race is 5M Jack Hewitt. Both drivers firmly convinced that's where they need to be. Hewitt slowing just a little bit in turn number 3. Gets it back under control. That opened the door a bit for Donnie Kreitz Jr. But still, they stay wheel to wheel. 30 or 40 feet separating them up the racetrack. Rick Unger back in the 6th spot in the 4-in car is getting some pressure from 1T Jeff Tuttle in 7th. Behind Tuttle is Terry Gray in the 8th spot. And it appears that Unger is going to be able to hold off Tuttle. Here's our leader, Steve Smith Jr., that beautiful 77 car, driven by, well, a fellow who is going to make big news in the world of sprint car racing. As we said before, just 23 years of age. He is firmly in the lead. And now firmly in the 2nd spot is Jack Hewitt, which means that Donnie Kreitz Jr. has fallen back to 3rd in the 69 car and is trying to hang on to that position now, getting a serious challenge from Jimmy Sills. Here comes Jimmy Sills on the high side, where he has ridden all night. And staying on the low, where he has traveled throughout the evening as well, is Donnie Kreitz Jr. What a terrific race for the 3rd position. Remember, Hewitt is up in front of Kreitz. In front of Hewitt is Steve Smith Jr. in the lead. The white flag is out. We are on the last lap of the mystery feature. There's the leader, 77, Steve Smith Jr. He will win it unchallenged. Checkered is out. Jack Hewitt takes 2nd. Who's going to take 3rd? Sweeping out of turn number 4. Oh, and Jimmy Sills hits a big hole, just about loses control. And Donnie Kreitz Jr. will take the 3rd spot. Jimmy Sills will have to settle for 4th. So here is the official finish of the mystery feature. Smith, a convincing win. Hewitt, Kreitz, and Sills putting on a tremendous show. And Ronnie Daniels stuck in there for the 5th spot. And now it's time for the traditional race of states here at Knoxville. Each driver representing his home state. We've got Illinois, Texas, Pennsylvania, Indiana, California, Washington, Tennessee, Mexico, Australia. Wait a minute, 2 states been added to the union without me hearing about it? Anyway, on the pole is the 2X car of Bruce Moore from Illinois. Alongside him in the 32U car is young Jason McMillan of California. McMillan up high, Moore down low. It is Moore coming out of turn number 2 with the lead. There's Jason McMillan. In 3rd spot, the orange car, that is Jeff Swindell. Swindell driving the 11X machine. Swindell is really mounting the charge. And coming through the pack is the number 11 machine of Steve Kinser, the winningest outlaw of them all. And now right on the heels of Jason McMillan. Look at that is Kinser moving down in the 11 car. Ooh, and in making his pass, Jeff Swindell moves right in front of Steve Kinser. Kinser was all over the brakes. So Jeff Swindell there retakes that. Jason McMillan in the 2nd spot. And there is the white 11 car of Steve Kinser. Kinser not running the motor that went undefeated on Wednesday night. Running a new engine with plenty of horsepower. As now it is Steve Kinser on the inside in the 2nd position. 2 of the most famous sprint car racing families going at it. And here towards the middle of the pack. That is Jamie Moyle from Australia, the 5T car. Tommy Estes Jr., the 97 car. Chris East, 17E. 1X, Jerry Rickard. East passes for the 7th position. That was him getting around Estes. But meanwhile, back up front, Steve Kinser has taken the lead over Jeff Swindell. The 12 car is a lap down. Look at Kinser just weave his way through the traffic. He's an absolute artist behind the wheel of a sprint car. And here is Aussie Jamie Moyle, the black car. He's in the 5th position, but getting pressure from 2 vehicles. 17, Chris East gets around him. And now 97, Tommy Estes Jr. has forced Jamie Moyle back into the 8th position. When Steve Kinser says goodbye, as he has to Jeff Swindell, you might as well go back in the back and find the good racing. And here it is. 17, Chris East, 97, Tommy Estes Jr. battling over that 6th spot. Well, now there is a new player for that 7th position moving into the picture. The purple 1X car, that is Jerry Richard Jr. from Minnesota. He has moved up to challenge the red 97 car of Tommy Estes Jr. for that 7th spot. But so far, Estes seems more than able to hold his own. And of course, a man who always holds his own in any sprint car race on any track is Steve Kinser, and he's the guy out front leading this thing. Here again, we're looking at that battle for the 7th spot. Tommy Estes Jr., the 97 car. Richard Jr., a lot of juniors in sprint car racing these days, trying to challenge him. There is the leader, Steve Kinser, we were talking about. What a driver, what a machine. His uncle Carl Kinser prepares it. We are halfway, better than halfway through this race at Knoxville. And there is Jeff Swindell running in the 2nd position, the orange car. He is, however, unable to make up any ground whatsoever on Steve Kinser. Kinser is right now going to take the white flag. He's got it. We are on the last lap of this event. The race of states coming to a conclusion on Friday night in Knoxville. It is going to be the 11 car, if he doesn't get in trouble in all of this traffic, taking the victory. Steve Kinser, as he sweeps into turn number 4, out of 4, still hard on the gas, carrying that front wheel across the line. It is Steve Kinser, the winner, winning for the state of Indiana. 11X Jeff Swindell from Tennessee should get across the mark in the 2nd position. He will indeed. Then Frankie Kerr from Pennsylvania, Bobby Burrows from Washington, and Chris East out of Maryland. And there, with the Indiana state flag, is Steve Kinser, the winner in the race of states over Jeff Swindell. Saturday night is the culmination of 4 days of some of the most exciting sprint car racing that this sport has to offer. Here in Knoxville, Iowa, over 100 sprint car teams are competing for $250,000. Now, one driver has already picked up where he left off the last 3 years running. 6-time Nationals winner Steve Kinser. He's with my buddy Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, you know, this place is pretty deserted outside the racetrack because everybody in Knoxville and the whole area is right inside here. And I'll tell you what, Knoxville does a neat little thing. They put out a weekly paper, the Knoxville Dirt Digest, that talks about the upcoming event. And an early edition here, you can see it said, Dog Wolfgang is picked as the favorite. Well, that was before the man who's standing right next to me got here and started to go to work. Steve Kinser set quick time on his night out, won his heat, and won the feature a couple of nights ago to put himself on the pole and to set himself in an excellent position to win his 4th straight Knoxville Nationals. And Steve, I know you came in here about as serious as I've ever seen you and really got your game face on.
Well, you know, this is a big race, and we let one slip away with us a couple weeks ago at Eldora, so we're just going to try to win this thing.
Well, you sure look like you've been running awful strong. I mean, it's just an awesome combination you and Carl put together here, and you got to feel pretty good about this situation.
Well, we've been running good all week. Like I said, Doug and Sammy and Blaney, and then everybody in the top 4 rows is capable of winning this race right now. So everything's going to have to go pretty well right to pull this thing off. We're going to give it our best shot and hope we can do it.
Well, we sure do, too. It's going to be an epic struggle, and everybody's looking forward to it. The best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Steve Kinser. And now, let's go to Steve with yet another story here at Knoxville.
Brock, as you well remember, 2 years ago, we saw this man, Californian Jimmy Sills, fracture the all-time track record here at Knoxville. Unfortunately, this year, Jimmy, you're in the same position Doug Wolfgang was in last year. He'd struggled in qualifying. You got to fight your way from the C main.
Well, yeah, we went from having the fastest time a couple of years ago to having the slowest time this year, and It unfortunately gave us no points, so we had to run a non-qualifiers last night, and we ended up second in the feature, and that puts us halfway back in the C main.
And you've got to finish first or second in the C main and in the top 4 in the B main to get to the A main.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of racing, and I hope we get to do it all. I think the first couple of features is going to get the track a little wider, so it'll be racy in the C main. Now, before you just started with the C main, the track was kind of greasy and hard to pass on, but I think tonight there'll be plenty of grooves on the racetrack.
Well, good luck on saving the weekend.
Well, thanks. It'd be nice.
Okay, Brock, it looks like the first race of the night is rolling out.
12 laps coming up, Steve. 4 top finishers to the C main. We've already got 20 starters for the National Championship event coming up later. Remember now, we've been running here for almost a week of qualifying races, so it's a long uphill battle for Jimmy Sills and some of the other guys in these initial events.
Well, especially when you consider there's only 4 available spots remaining for that A feature. You know, Brock, it's been so busy all week that Dirt Digest newspaper you talked about, this 1 week of the year is actually daily. You pick it up every morning like you would the newspaper in your hometown.
Yeah, it's a super little deal. This is a major event all the way around. We got probably 20,000 plus people packed in here tonight. Perhaps the largest crowd ever to see a sprint car race.
And many of them have come from Europe, Australia, New Zealand for this kind of action. The start of the D main, the top 4 go to the C main.
Doug Clark waves the green as they sweep down into turn number 1 and already trouble. Randy Rosenboom and the 14R. The red flag is out for the Rosenboom crash. They'll stop on the main straightaway. Rosenboom quickly out of the car. The giant crowd cheering, obviously relieved, but could have been a really nasty crash. Here we see the field coming down after taking the green flag from starter Doug Clark, and you can see that Rosenboom's car is pinched up against the fence by the 56 car of Guy Vicura. There he tags the wall really hard. 1 snap roll, that big wing cushioning the blow of the race car as it lands on its roll cage. 1 more hard bounce and back on its wheels. Fortunately, as we know now, this being a replay, that Rosenboom is out of the race car and apparently uninjured. Yes, there he is, standing in the middle of the track as they examine his race car. Steve is making his way to him.
Well, right now, Randy's biggest concern seems to be trying to put his glasses back together here. And that's just a classic example of how easy it is to get one of these sprint cars upside down. You don't necessarily have to hit another car. The wall will do it.
Yeah, that sure did it.
You're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Other than your glasses?
Yeah, my glasses
when did you first kind of go, oh, no, this could be upside down?
Oh, that one guy got a wheel into me, and that's when I knew it was going to happen.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yep.
Well, again, Brock, happy to report that Randy Rosenboom is just fine, but the same cannot be said for his race car. The red flag remains out as they try to figure out how to pick up all the pieces. I know you're with Guy Vicura.
I think near as we could see, you just kind of missed the tangle, guys. How did it start in front of you?
Well, they were just all bunched, and everybody was trying to get sorted out, and I felt a little tag behind me. I think that's maybe who got tipped over, but I tried to keep it as straight as I could.
And you kept her going, and you're ready. You're on. The car's okay.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Good. Well, go get him, Guy. Good luck.
Yep, thanks.
Those 2 men, perhaps 2 of the greatest race drivers ever to live, certainly in dirt track ranks. Doug Wolfgang, Steve Kinser, arch rivals on the racetrack, but close pals in the pit area as they discuss their upcoming confrontation in the major event of the night later on. But right now, we're still getting ready to go with the D main. Remember, Randy Rosenboom bounced it off the fence in turn number 1, and that brought out a red flag. So we're going to get ready for a restart, Steve Evans.
Indeed, and thank you all very much. We appreciate the welcome. This is our 3rd year here, and I hope we come back for many, many more. All right, you can bet that Wolfgang and Kinser both have headed for the fence at the top of their trailer to watch the restart of the D main because they want to know what's going on with this racetrack.
Absolutely, as we watch 77, Dirk Van Heater and Bobby Burrow in the 1P lead this field down into turn number 1. Will they make it through? Yes. A clean start this time. Everybody makes it down the back straightaway. That's the 5 car of Randy Turner.
And taking a bit higher line is machine in front of him, the yellow car of Dirk Van Heater, 77V. A couple of car car lengths between them still. Everybody trying to find exactly the right place for their combination. Is it inside? Is it outside? Is it maybe in the middle?
This is our wide racetrack. There are basically 3 grooves here, as you say. And there you see Turner down low on Heater in the middle groove, and then yellow 77 nose to nose down the front straightaway. But Turner seems to get into that for turn number 1 a little bit harder and takes about a 5-car advantage over Van Heater as they go down the back straight.
And now Randy Turner has set his sights on the leader, Bobby Burrow, in the 1P car. He's making his move right now. Here comes Randy Turner, and he does it on the inside. He dives underneath and has taken the lead. What a nice piece of driving. Now, Brock, let's see if he can hold on to that lead.
Randy Turner, San Jose, California. One of a number of guys that have come in here from the West Coast as he charges hard up on the cushion into turn number 3 as he moves in on 12T. Mike Tweed up ahead, some lap cars, 57. Steve Brazil up there. Going to be interesting to see how Turner works his way through this slower traffic.
Sometimes a race can look like a runaway for a position, and traffic all of a sudden gets involved, and suddenly you really see the driver that's got his game face on, that can think 2 or 3 cars ahead of himself.
Well, that's where the guys like Swindell, Wolfgang, Kinser are so good getting through this traffic. Nice move by Turner through that slower traffic. Here comes the 1 car down on a no, challenging. That's Bobby Burrow riding right down in that low groove as Turner fends him off, coming off turn number 4. White flag, last lap for Turner and Burrow.
Only 4 will go to the C-main, and right now, that's Randy Turner, Bobby Burrow, Dirk Van Heater, and Bruce Moore. Will it stay that way?
All right, as Turner goes around a lap car into turn 3, off turn number 4, up ahead of him, the checkered flag. Randy Turner is going to win it and move on into the next main event, the C-main. Turner managed to repel the assault later in the race by Bobby Burrow. He finishes 2nd. Dirk Van Heater 3rd. Bruce Moore in the transfer position. Those 4 guys will move on. So Randy Turner, San Jose, California, is the winner of the D-Main, the first big event of tonight here at Knoxville. And now Steve is with Doug Wolfgang for his thoughts.
Now, Doug, I don't know if you pick up the local papers when you're in Knoxville, if you watch television, very much the sports news, but boy, they use that name Kinser a whole lot. Does that ever kind of get to you a little bit?
Well, personally, I've been kind of sick of it for about 15 years. Now, he's a nice guy. He tries hard. He's a credit to our sport. He drives the heck out of things, and he deserves everything he gets.
It just seems that the press makes it a foregone conclusion, maybe because he's won 6 times, 3 in a row, that he's going to do it again. I'm sure you don't.
Well, he starts on the pole. He's got as good a chance as anybody, but I'm running pretty good this year, and I don't see no reason why I can't at least make him sweat a little bit.
I just heard the announcer say over the PA to the fans, all Doug Wolfgang T-shirts are sold out, quit asking. You've got them behind you.
Yeah, we got a lot of fans down here. This is near my hometown. I live up the road 4 or 5 hours, and it's about as close as I come to racing around Sioux Falls. So I got a lot of fans here.
Great luck, huh?
Thanks.
Okay, the results of the D-Main are official. Randy Turner won it. Burrow, Van Heater, Moore round out the top 4 transfer spots. Rick England just missed moving into the next race. And Guy Bakura, who was involved in that first lap crash, he got back in it and finished as high as 10th. Pretty good job. Okay, let's go to Brock, who has rounded up the winner.
Steve, I'm and Randy Turner just turned in a super performance. It looked like he was sitting back there in 2nd and almost kind of resolved to that position, and a couple laps in the end just smoked him. Get hooked up or find another groove?
Oh, we're just kind of holding back and just kind of getting the feel of the track because we've been having problems with tires all week, and just want to make sure that everything's going to run right, try to find a groove where the car was going to work, and not let him know where I was going to pass him too soon so he could get back at me.
Good race. Said then when you got him, you really got him.
Yeah, it felt pretty good going by.
You going to make any changes? I know, boy, you're under a lot of time pressure. I can see the crew working here real hard. Any specific change you're going to make?
Yeah, we're probably going to put on some new tires. We've got to figure out, coming in for the checker, the motor started to quit, so I don't know if I ran out of fuel or what happened. So.
Well, let's hope you get it figured out. We'll be watching. Good race.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go to Steve Evans with Bobby Burrows, who finished in 2nd spot. Steve?
Bobby, that was just one heck of a good car race with the 5 machine.
Yeah, trying to get there closer and closer yet.
Once you got that 2nd position, it looked like you started driving just a little bit defensively. Don't blow it.
Yeah, try to stay up there so we transfer.
Okay, tell me about the racetrack now. We've asked other drivers earlier. Is there more than one racing groove?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple. We just got to get her dialed into which one we want to run for sure.
What about the middle of the track?
It's getting pretty slick there. There's some on the bottom. It's kind of greasy on the bottom, but there's a good groove up top if you can get up there and run it. It's a lot of guys slide up in front of you.
That's what we love to see them run. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, here comes the C-Main. 15 laps of no second chance racing here. Only 2 will go to the B, and if you're not among those 2, say goodbye to Knoxville, Iowa.
15 laps, Steve. Not much time for a guy like Jimmy Sills to work his way to the front. He's going to start back there a ways back. Danny Smith also back in row 4. Jimmy Sills in row 5. So he's got some tough customers up ahead of him. Jerry Richard Jr., he's from up in Minnesota. He's a strong runner. He could be a factor. But these guys, they're going to be looking real hard at trying to get the proper setup. That is, you heard Sammy Swindell say, I hope I can keep up with the racetrack. It's a very major factor here. These racetracks, these dirt tracks change in the course of an evening, and if you guess wrong, there's no way that you're going to go back into the pits and make a different setup. So you can be sure that Wolfgang and Swindell, everybody standing on top of their trucks watching how these particular race cars behave.
And how about a wave from the emergency crew, the firefight guys on the backstretch? Everybody's having a good time tonight, except maybe Jimmy Sills. He is one of the biggest names in West Coast sprint car racing. As we said, he set the track record a couple of years ago. But now let's see if he can come from the back of the pack in the C-Main.
All right, we got a green down into turn number 1. It's a critical part. Ooh, a tangle again. Randy Turner, exactly the same spot that Randy Rosenboom hit the fence on the opening lap of the first feature race. He apparently is all right. Turner didn't hit quite as hard as Rosenboom, didn't get the car upside down, but he sure bent the rear suspension up pretty good on that 5 car.
Well, Randy's car will have to be removed from the racetrack. A tough, tough break for Randy Turner.
As we go back to the racetrack and what appears to be a green flag, Steve.
And again, we'll be watching Jimmy Sills in this pack as he hopes to move up into the top 2. That's the only way you're going to continue to race tonight, and the green is out.
Down into turn number 1, sweeps the field. Good clean start this time. There is Sills in the maroon number 7, sweeping around that green and white car of Butch Hansen, the 8-8. So he is already up into the 6th position. Meanwhile, up ahead, Jason McMillan leads it in the 32U. And he has opened out a pretty good lead at this point. But back in the 5th spot is Danny Smith in the 56 car, and he is now being challenged by Sills as they go down into turn number 3. And Sills gets underneath them through turn number 4, Steve.
He does indeed, and now it's closing on 83. Rod Henderson for the 4th spot. Jimmy Sills is on the march, but is there enough time left?
Well, we'll soon find out as Sills drives it as hard as he can. Remember now, he's got to get into either 1st or 2nd to advance into the B main. So it's a critical position that Jimmy Sills is in. There is no tomorrow here. If he doesn't make one of those 2 finishing positions, he loads it up and heads back to California.
Rich Bubach in car number 9 has stalled in turn number 4. That's going to bring out the caution flag. We'll have to wait and see if Jimmy Sills can take advantage of that on the restart. And here they come. The green flag is out for the restart of the C-Main as they sweep down the main straightaway in front of this huge crowd. It is Jason McMillan low, and we've got contact and one into the wall hard. That is 83. Rod Henderson, who got the worst of it. Also the 1X car of Jerry Richard. Richard on the left of your screen, the emergency workers scrambling out there, and need I say the red flag is out again. Smoke still emanating from the 83 car of Rod Henderson. The brief fire has been put out, actually it extinguished itself, and we're waiting for a report on both those drivers.
Well, Henderson was sitting, as we said, in 3rd place, and on the restart got it up against the fence. There you see the opening stages of this first lap, and in the white car down low, that's Bruce Moore. He seems to tag the 83 automobile of Henderson, which shunts him right up into the fence. He takes a hard hit,
rolls around, does a couple of 360s, flops over on its right side. The wing kind of rolls it back on its wheels just in time for Jerry Richard Jr. to tag him right in the right rear, tearing the rear end loose. Now, Richard kind of slews to a stop just in time to be almost tagged head-on by Gary Lee Meyer in the 111X. But the big damage was, of course, inflicted on the 83 automobile of Rod Henderson. There you see him rolling one more time. A little flash of fire from the right side of the engine, probably an oil fire from the dry sump system that got hit pretty hard by Richard. But the fire apparently goes out. No major damage. There you see Meyer tagging Richard one last time. And now let's go to Steve.
Brock, the wrecker has just arrived on the scene of the 1X car, and the driver, Jerry Reichert Jr., jumped out of the car and literally sprinted across the track and over the fence, possibly to get his crew together to try to prepare this car to get back into action. Depends on how long the red flag is out. They're still working on the 83 car. The axle, as you can see, is knocked out of place. The left front tire is a bit askew, but we've seen miracles before, and this just might be another one. Rod Henderson, Brock, is right now going into the ambulance. He is talking with the crews. He's wide awake, did not appear to be in any pain, very calm. They're going to transport him and make absolutely sure he does not have any head or neck injuries. But he appeared, from our vantage point anyway, to be in pretty good shape, considering the pounding that he took in this incident between turns 1 and 2.
Well, like most of the drivers here, Rod Henderson in pretty good physical condition and probably capable of taking some really hard knocks. He took a pretty good shot, but we can only hope that his seat belt and all the safety features on the automobile held up and he'll be all right. Look at this. Jimmy Sills is stalled on the back straight, Steve.
Well, this is going to hold things up even more. The 7N car we've been watching make pretty fair progress from the back of the pack may right now have seen his weekend come to a very sluggish close. Official over there checking things out. It's hard to say what was wrong. Just kind of bogged to a stop.
Well, let's hope that Jimmy can get that thing fired because otherwise he's only got 3 laps to go. And he either retires or even if he had to go to the back of the pack, there'd be no way that he could make up the distance. As it stands, though, he should fall back into line about the 6th spot where he was struggling with Danny Smith just before the caution came out.
That vehicle does not appear to be running, Brock. Either it doesn't want to start or Jimmy doesn't want to start it, one or the other. The working Woody, the push vehicle, they're giving it everything he's got.
Yeah, and those cars usually fire right up. Now, Jimmy Sills is aiming it for the pits, which is a tough break for him. We were hoping that he'd be able to move into the big A feature coming up later, but right now Jason McMillan and Steve Perry are the guys that have got the best shot at it. Now, outlaw style, these guys will get the green down the back straightaway, so we're on it. We're back racing.
And that is 32U, the red car, Jason McMillan out in front. He's had a terrific C-main so far. And Dallas driver Steve Perry in the 12P car behind him about 3 car lengths.
But look at the green car of Terry Gray, Memphis, Tennessee, the number 3 automobile. He is diving underneath Jim Bell Jr., trying to take over that 3rd spot.
And, of course, Terry Gray has got a lot of incentive to do just that. Because if you're not number 1 or number 2, we've said it before, we'll say it one more time, your Knoxville Nationals is over with. And how about Terry Gray? You see the green car right there. Brock, he has pulled out all the stops trying to catch 12P. Steve Perry, who is running in the 2nd position. Oh, this is really a fight. It's as important as winning. And the last lap flag is out.
Last lap, Terry Gray, 1 shot. He's got about 6 cars to make up on the 2nd place automobile of Steve Perry. Can he do it? Look at this. What a charge down the back straightaway. He's taking him on the high side, the hard way. Perry, it falls back to Gray. A beautiful charge on the part of Terry Gray to take that 2nd transfer spot. What a show.
I'll tell you, that was one of the grittiest performances we have seen all night. Terry Gray just never lifted. You can see the front wheels first one way, then the other way. Anything he had to do to manhandle that car into 2nd.
Beautiful drive, but Jason McMillan wins it easily. He drove away from everybody. All eyes, though, were on Terry Gray and, of course, on Jimmy Sills, who failed to finish. And now Steve is with him in the pits.
Well, Jimmy, even when it was running, it didn't seem to want to go where you wanted to put it.
Well, we were way too tight for the racetrack, and it was hard to maneuver. We made some adjustments on the red, and it helped us some, but It just seemed like the motor vapor locked or something, because we were all right out there running. As soon as we got a yellow, the motor didn't want to run.
Define tight for those at home that may not be familiar with that term as far as sprint cars are concerned.
Well, the car just doesn't want to turn left when you get into the corner, and you know, sometimes it can be too tight from driving off the left rear too hard. Sometimes it can be tight off the right rear where it doesn't let the right rear slip. We were driving real hard off the left rear, and we were tight on both rear wheels. So.
Game effort.
Well, thanks, Dave.
Tough break for Jimmy Sills, but we know we'll see him again. He's one of the best. As we take a look at the final standings in this C-Main, McDillon, Gray, Perry, Bell, and Thorson. Gray, of course, the star in the late stages of the race. Danny Smith finishes 6th, Tobin, Kent, Uhl, and Bob White in the 10th spot. And now let's go to the man who stayed clear of all the trouble and won the C-Main.
Well, Jason, if every race went like that, it'd be Steve Kinser.
Oh, the track is just so fast right now. I mean, as long as the car's fast, any moron can make her go. I mean, it's just real fast.
If there's no traffic, you can drive it flat out.
No worries, flat out. I mean, when the green flag dropped, I never lifted until the checkered.
Great drive.
Thank you.
Jason McMillan, talent, heart, personality. Let's go to Brock with a man who finished 2nd.
Steve, I'm with Terry Gray, who struggled with Sills most of the race, and then coming off turn 4, you just nipped into 2nd place. Great race.
Yeah, it was either that or that was going to be the end of the night. We had to go. We had to go with all we had then.
It looked like you were just having troubles with Sills. You could seem to get him in the corners, and he just seemed to have a little bit more coming down the straights. And once he cleared out of there, you moved right up on 2nd.
Seals' car was pretty strong, but we had that yellow flag, and his car kept lagging like he was out of fuel or something. I don't know what happened to him, but once we did get clear of him, we had a pretty good shot to the front then.
So now crew's working hard to get you ready, and no rest for the wicked, as they say. Got to go right back to work.
Yeah, we going to have to start in the back of this next one. It's really going to be tough, but at least we're not through yet.
I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates. And Brock, it looks like a big beach party's going on here if we were in the middle of the Corn Belt.
They're going to bounce those balls around here all night now. But they'll stop, believe me, once the green flag drops on this one. This is the B feature. And we got some hitters in here. Jack Houdenchild, Donnie Kreitz Jr., some of the really strong runners. And remember now, this is 22 laps, and 4 of these cars will advance into the A feature. There's Shane Carson, Rick Unger. Seen those guys make some good runs over the years. Solid professionals. As I say, some heavy guys in here, and they're going to be working hard. Remember Mike Ward out of Memphis, Tennessee? We've seen him take some sensational rides over the years.
Oh, yeah, he's starting to blame it on us. Because anytime Diamond B shows up, kaboom!
Well, let's hope he has a better night tonight. We hope all these guys do, as Johnny Herrera, the red 45X from Albuquerque, New Mexico, leads them down. He's on the pole. On the outside, the man they called a wild child, Jack Houdenchild, in that yellow 49. Those guys on the front row. And believe me, they're both Chargers. Ought to be interesting to see how Houdenchild acts up trying to drag Race Herrera down past the green.
Well, if it's Houdenchild, apparently that got on the loud pedal first. It's Houdenchild into turn number 1, right in the middle of the racetrack. Johnny Herrera takes the shorter way around. Now darts to the high side, back underneath, hunting, looking for daylight.
Here they come to complete the first lap. The 12 car, that's Billy Bielauer from Shawnee, Kansas, who made a good start and moves up into the 3rd spot. But look at Herrera go after Houdenchild. Houdenchild down the back chute. Pitches that yellow spreader into turn number 3. On the power. This is a power racetrack. Uh-oh. Yellow flag. Local driver Mackie Heimbaugh from Des Moines has stalled coming off turn number 2. That will slow everybody up, bring out the push car to get him restarted, or perhaps he has stalled and broken something and push him into the pit. But in the meantime, Heimbaugh has brought things to a halt here with Houdenchild and Herrera going at it for the lead. So with the field circulating under caution, let's take a look at an automobile being driven by Donnie Kreitz Jr. He's back in 4th place, but earlier Steve had a look at a unique little cockpit component his crew has installed.
Today's sprint car seat offers the driver a fair amount of support. Take a look here for the hips and for the upper body. But until we discovered this head restraint on the 69K car of Donnie Kreitz Jr., we had never before seen one on a Sprinter, and you find it quite often in other forms of motorsport. And it's a very simple device, a piece of aluminum screwed to the back of the seat, bent around, padded, upholstered. It's not too stiff. It just kind of bend with him in case of an impact on the right side. And he really has installed this to reduce fatigue. Donnie says with 5 or 6 laps to go, he found himself trying to hold his head up. Centrifugal force was pushing it off to the right. He wanted to concentrate on driving and not that. So he installed this very simple device. And I think even the most macho of drivers ought to take a look at this. Couldn't hurt.
Well, a lot of drivers, of course, in other kinds of racing, in fact, some in sprint cars are using a little cable attached from a shoulder brace up to their helmet to do the same thing, because muscles can really get fatigued with this heavy side loading that these cars exert on your entire body.
And most of the tracks that these guys run are more corners than they are straightaways, so your head is always pushed off to the right like that. Here's the restart. Jack Haudenstrahl, the bright yellow car, followed again by Johnny Herrera, red 45.
Back in third place, that blue 12X, now being challenged by the similar blue 69 of Donnie Kreitz. There you see Kreitz down the back straightaway, ducking underneath Billauer to take over that third spot.
Boy, Donnie Kreitz is some kind of a young sprint car driver. We first ran into him earlier this year in Memphis, and he was an all-star down south.
There's Kreitz muscling by Billauer, trying to hold on to the position, and there's Jason McMillan. He is slowing. That again will bring out the yellow. He is going to park that car up in turn number 3 in a dangerous position, and I wonder what's going on here tonight.
You know, it seems to be a jinx, Brock. If you win the previous race, you break in the next one.
Yeah, that's right. We've had that happen before. A tough break for McMillan. The young California driver apparently finished for the night. Now, Eddie Gallagher, one of the Tennessee gang, his car, the 1D, is currently in 5th spot. And earlier, Steve had a look at his car as well.
As of the last year or so, development of the wings on these sprint cars has really been accelerated. It seems like every race we go to, we see a new twist, a new trick. Take a look at the #1 car of Eddie Gallagher. Now, remember what you see here. This is a pretty typical setup. The big wing and its support system and all of the hydraulics and sliding mechanism. Okay, you got that? Now, take a look at the 69 car of Brent Kading from Campbell, California. You see any difference? You bet you do. It's not nearly as cluttered. It's got to be better aerodynamically. They have hidden as much as they can of the support system and the hydraulics up inside the wing, out of the airflow. Pretty neat. Let me show you something really neat. You talk about managing the wind. They've taken some of the air that normally would just slide under the wing, profiled the wing where now it is forced right down into the fuel injection system, kind of a poor man's supercharger. Now that cool air that goes down through there provides another service. It also takes some of the heat out of the engine compartment and directs it out of these ducts on both sides of the cowling. All in all, pretty neat development stuff going on in sprint car racing. Who says these machines never change?
Well, you're right, Steve. As we get ready to field, there is the starter getting the field lined up. Haudenstrahl, Herrera, Kreitz. Those 3 guys nose to tail, and obviously each one of them expects to win this one, I would think, Steve.
You know, Johnny Herrera is in an excellent position to try to maybe get a better start than Haudenstrahl, but again, he cannot do it. It may just be that Haudenstrahl has a little lower gear, a little more responsive motor. But again, you see Haudenstrahl rocking away.
Well, look at this race for third, though. Billauer won't give up. The 12 car, that blue 12, just bounced right back and took Donnie Kreitz Jr. on the high side. Kreitz comes back low, but those 2 race cars nose to nose down the front straightaway, with Billauer holding a little bit of an advantage. Now, as they come off turn 2, it looks as if Billauer on the high side simply will not give up on that spot. And believe it or not, both of them begin to move in on Herrera in that second spot.
Well, they all know it's engraved on their brains. You've got to be in the top 4 if you're going to the A feature tonight and not be disappointed like Shane Carson.
Billauer falters somehow and falls back. But Herrera now being challenged by Donnie Kreitz Jr. down low. And Billauer suddenly bobbled and now is out of contention.
I'll tell you, Donnie Kreitz Jr. has as smooth a style as you can ask for in this sport. You seldom see him make a mistake. He's a very analytical driver. He seems to know the racetrack, exactly where in one turn he can run and a different place in the other turn. Quite a job he's doing right behind Herrera. That's the blue 69K car with that head restraint we talked about. And just as I say that, he does bobble a little bit.
Well, look at Vielauer. He's come back. Vielauer fell back about 10 cars and now has moved right up on the Nerf bar of Donnie Price Jr. In fact, I think he bumped him and once again fell back. So Vielauer, a very aggressive young driver, trying his best here. I think, though, that little bobble cost him a bunch as now Kreitz begins once more to challenge Johnny Herrera for that transfer spot here, though. Don't forget, though, 4 cars will move into the A feature from this event.
And right now on the bubble, so to speak, in the 4th position, here comes Donnie Kreitz Jr. under Herrera. Herrera got just a little bit too high, and Kreitz, boy, he's driving a masterful race here, wanting to stay lap 2nd or 3rd, not be in that bump spot like Vielauer is in that 4th position.
Well, Herrera falling back a little bit as we watch Donnie Kreitz moving past some lap traffic. Oh, almost chopped there. Very close as a white flag comes out for Jack Houdenchild, who's holding on to a very substantial lead in that yellow 49 down the back straightaway, moving easily, unchallenged by Donnie Kreitz at this point.
And Vielauer has lost that 4th position, Brock. He lost it to Ray Lipsy in car number 45. And there's the checkered flag for Jack Houdenchild, followed by Donnie Kreitz Jr. in the 69K car. What a job those two did. I'll tell you, Kreitz just nibbled away at that 2nd place that was held so long by Johnny Herrera. The Jack Houdenchild was dominant. He'll go to the big feature race of the night, even though he'll start towards the back. At least he's got a shot at making more money here at the richest sprint car race of them all. So Jack Houdenchild has got to be pleased that that crew is making progress. His fans are certainly happy about it as he wins the B main. Kreitz 2nd, as we said. Then Herrera, who fell from 2nd to 3rd. Lipsy makes a final transfer spot. And Terry Gray, the green number 3 car, who barely got into the B main by the skin of his wing, comes all the way from the back to the 10th position to make some traveling money. Meanwhile, back in the pit area, the crew continuing to do all the little things it takes to get a sprint car the caliber of Steve Kinser's ready for the A feature to come. Right now, Brock is with the winner of the B feature.
It looked like the cushion was about halfway around. It looked like you got up on top a little bit a couple of times and got a little bicycle a little bit.
Well, it is. They just don't have it. Once they run up there for about 10 laps, they're going to have the cushion real nice. And bottom's real nice. The racetrack's nicer, and it's been all week. You'll be able to run anywhere in the racetrack. It's going to be a good race. The bottom's fast and top's fast and everywhere is.
You're liking it, huh? You feel good?
Yeah.
Race car looked like it was really hooked up.
Yeah, I think, you know, we got her pretty close we've been all week. So, you know, I'm pretty confident about starting.
Good deal. We're looking forward to it. Go get him.
Thanks.
Hey, Jack Houdenchild. Steve?
Well, I had a feeling, Brock, he'd have some renewed confidence after winning the B main. Now, also back in the pit area, getting his mount ready, the crew of Jeff Swindell. In fact, Jeff himself checking the fuel. If he talks to Steve Perry, Perry will tell him to put every ounce he can possibly get in that tank. Running out of fuel cost him a shot.
4 solid days of sprint car racing are about to culminate into what many are saying will be the finest A main or feature race in modern day sprint car history. The winner to take home about $40,000. And on the pole, the king of the outlaws, Steve Kinser. I sense nervousness from the back to the front of this field.
Well, every way everybody's running this year, the races have been real tight and close, so I think it's going to be one heck of a race here. We got a good ideal starting spot. Let's just hope we can stay there.
You've won the last 3. Do you have to put that out of your mind a little bit and just treat this like another race?
The last 3 is over with. This is a complete different season. Everybody's running different. We got Doug Wolfgang's been running really good all year, and Sammy's running better than he has the last couple of years, and Dave Blaney's running better than he has his whole career, and there's probably about 6 more behind him, and it's going to be right in the race, so it's going to be a tough race.
It's a great honor to sit on the pole, but maybe from a strategy standpoint, would you rather be where Wolfgang is?
Well, I don't know. I would take either position right now. We'll just hope when we get in the first corner, we can get settled down in one of the top 2 spots and go from there.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, starting on the outside of the front row is a man who has won here 3 times, obviously ready to go, almost had the perfect point system. Doug, you got to feel good about tonight.
We've been looking pretty good most of the season. I've been handling fairly good all season, and I'm just happy to be here and be in position to be able to lead the race and win it.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. You had We saw you a little bit in the trophy dash. That not very indicative of anything. You just went, I would imagine, that learned a little bit, though.
Nah, it's early. It was early in the night, and the track was greasy, and it really didn't mean anything. If you couldn't lead it into turn one, there wasn't really no sense in abusing your car to the bitter end, you know, considering it pays so much money in the feature. So you just ride it out after that.
You told me last year you're a money driver and a professional, and I know this time you won't be hanging back at all.
No, I'll be going for it.
Okay, the best of luck.
Thank you.
Doug Wolfgang. Steve?
Well, if you watched our coverage of the Knoxville Nationals last year, you know what a wonderful job Dave Blaney did. He darn near won the whole thing. And Steve Kinser just paid you a big compliment. He said you're having the season of your life, driving better than you ever have.
Well, I think so. I got a real good team around me, you know, good equipment. You know, they're supplying me with the stuff I need. And, you know, I think I am getting a little more consistent, you know, a little more knowledgeable about everything and more experience. And, you know, it all comes together.
Inside second row, pretty decent starting position.
Oh, yeah, it's good enough. You know, if your car's halfway right and you do the right things at the right time, you can come out on top. You know, it's going to be a good four-car race.
What's the first thing you have to do right?
Get to the first corner first, but just coming to traffic is going to be the big story. If you can do the right things, just the right time, you're going to be there.
And stay out of trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we hope it works for you.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock, who have you got?
Well, Steve, starting on the outside of the second row, one of our really close friends in this business, a man who is also one of the very few winners here in the modern era of the Nationals, Sammy Swindell. Sammy, you just smoked him in the trophy dash. Got to make you feel a little bit good going into this deal.
Well, you know, we know everything's working right early. You know, if we kept up with the racetrack and our car's working as good as it was then, and everybody else isn't working any better, we still should have the same advantage. But the track makes a big change. You know, I hope we made the right decisions and everybody else didn't.
Sammy, I know the start's reasonably is critical here. You got to it looks like about a half a racetrack here going down into 1 and 2. You're starting on the outside. Would you rather be on the inside, or is this okay?
Well, I think it'll be all right. The bottom might be a little bit better for the start down on that end, but I think the top's going to be better on this end. You know, if we don't lose too much time coming off of 4, I think we can more than make up for it by the time we get ready to come off 2.
Okay, well, we'll be sure watching and wishing the best of luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sammy Swindell. Steve?
If the veterans are nervous, imagine what's going through the mind of the young man in the 77 car starting inside of row number 3, Stevie Smith of Pennsylvania. Your first time here, a great starting position. How's the pressure right now? How do you feel?
Well, we got a lot of pressure on us, but it's just another racetrack, and we're happy to be here and starting where we are, and we're going to give it our best shot.
Where would you prefer to run if you've got a wide open racetrack? High, low, middle, where?
Well, I'm thinking at the beginning the middle's going to be better with a full load of fuel, and then maybe toward the end the top will take over.
Will you have to pace your tires at all on a track like this?
Well, we went a little harder, and we're just going to run the heck out of this one.
I'll bet you do. Go get him, kid.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brock?
Well, Steve, I'm with Bobby Davis Jr., who is currently leading the World of Outlaws in points. He's had an excellent season so far, and the only Ford-powered automobile in this field. Bobby, it's been a rough road so far for you here, but you're starting relatively up front, and you got to feel pretty good about your chances.
Well, we feel good about it. We had a little trouble Wednesday night, but, you know, we worked on the car and worked on the motor a little bit, and it feels good tonight. So, you know, we're starting on the 4th row outside, so we got a good chance.
Bobby, I know this car, this Ford engine likes big racetracks like this, and it's a fairly heavy racetrack. And it's got a lot of rain, and it looks like it's not going to be a super slick racetrack. How's the Ford going to behave under those conditions?
Well, we should be pretty good. You know, it's just as long as we don't have the car too tight. You know, you take a chance on every race you start. So, you know, it's a big old guessing game, and we just hope we guess right.
We sure hope you did, too.
Okay, thank you.
Bobby Davis Jr. Steve?
Well, the many fans of the man who drives the orange 11X car out of Tennessee wish that Jeff Swindell was starting a little further up in the pack, and I know you do too, inside the 8th row. Not as good as you'd hoped.
No, especially with the way they got the track tonight. They got the track nice and heavy, and it's slick on the bottoms, so it's going to make it real tough to do some passing. We had some problems getting through the qualifying events, so we should have won one of them, and car fell down on us just a little bit, but we had a little bit of motor problems out there in hot laps a little while ago, but we hope we got it solved. If we did, we got a chance of coming up through there as long as we get some yellows.
Not your kind of racetrack, is that what you're saying?
Well, it's not my kind of racetrack to have to come from the back. I don't think it's anybody's kind of racetrack to come from the back. It's real hard when the track's like this. If it had slicked off like we had hoped, a little more than it did, then it would be a lot easier because it's a lot harder to get your cars hooked up, so it's a lot harder for more of the guys to get fast. So when the track's nice and heavy like this, it's easy for a lot of guys to be fast. It makes it real hard to pass.
For 4 days, 120 wing sprint cars and over 20,000 fans have waited for this moment. So salute to the crowd in preparation for the A feature. And look at the wave. The crowd is saluting them back, Brock Yates.
Boy, are they having fun. They've come from all over the United States and Canada to watch this show. Kinser and Wolfgang, Blaney and Swindell, Stevie Smith and Randy Smith in row 3, Kinser and Bobby Davis Jr. The names just keep on coming. Kauffman, we saw him run so well. Andy Hillenburg, a great night. Bobby Allen, always count on him for a great show. Tim Green, we haven't heard much about him, but he is always ready to run hard. Jeff Swindell, Joe Garrity, young Jeff Gordon. Watch out for him, Steve.
You know, unlike some sprint car races, the B main or heat races, where if you finish third, maybe you make $10 more than the guy in fourth. Doesn't work that way at the Chevrolet Knoxville Nationals. There's thousands of dollars between positions.
They pay way back. There's a ton of money available. The winner will win right around $35,000. So the big money's on the front end of this show. But believe me, anything among the top 10 or 20 is going to take home some pretty serious bucks as they come down off turn number 3 into turn 4. The green is out. We've got to start.
The 29th annual Knoxville Nationals is led into turn number 1 by the man of the pole, Steve Kinser. Doug Wolfgang goes outside in the white AD car, and Wolfgang immediately asserts himself. Kinser battles back.
Down into turn number 4 and off onto the front straightaway. It is Doug Wolfgang establishing about a 4-car length lead. Back there in the 3rd spot, Sammy Swindell up high. Kinser down low in the 2nd spot in that white 11. But look at the Wolf run. The Wolf seems to have all kinds of horsepower at this point.
Indeed he does. Sammy Swindell runs in the 3rd spot in the beautiful black car. And we can see right there the interval between 1st and 3rd. Boy, it's amazing that Wolfgang could get this far ahead of Swindell in so few laps.
Instant advantage here. And look at the race for the 4th spot. That is the number 77 car, Stevie Smith, and the 7C of Dave Blaney. Those 2 red automobiles going at it for that 4th spot. There's Blaney up high, Stevie Smith low in the 77 down the back straightaway. Blaney seems to be able to run that high groove, but Stevie Smith pitching that 77 hard sideways through turn number 4, and there is Blaney holding onto that 4th spot.
And no matter how the 77 car Stevie Smith finishes tonight, he'll long remember his first appearance ever at the Knoxville Nationals, and people will long remember his efforts.
I'll guarantee you it won't be the last time he shows up here as he moves out, holding on to that 5th spot now. Blaney has established a considerable advantage over him. Of course, Stevie Smith comes right back at him on that low side. He likes the low groove here. There's Blaney in the 7 car. About a 2-car length lead as they come off turn number 4.
You know, Brock, Jeff Swindell's words in our pre-race interviews are ringing loud right now. He said this track is so good that it makes a lot of guys fast. It makes it difficult to pass.
Absolutely. As we watched this excellent race between Blaney and Stevie Smith. And you know, Blaney is slowly edging in on Sammy Swindell in that 3rd spot. Those 2 guys, Stevie Smith and Blaney, have been working hard on each other, and slowly the 2 of them are gathering up the distance between that black number 1 of Sammy Swindell sitting in the 3rd spot.
Well, so far, no one has had to contend with any traffic, but that is about to change because they are closing on the number 45 car of Ray Lipsy, and there's plenty more in front of him they'll have to get around.
A look at Dave Blaney down low. Blaney's taking the low side now as he begins to seriously challenge Sammy Swindell. Swindell up in the middle, master in traffic. He slides by Ray Lipsy, as does Dave Blaney, and down into turn number 1. Both those cars up on the high side now. Swindell ducks low, and Blaney runs alongside him. Blaney moves by him down the back straightaway.
Swindell got down low, scrubbed off a little bit of speed, and that was all Blaney needed, who had the momentum coming off the straightaway.
Well, now Stevie Smith moves in to challenge Sammy Swindell. Trouble in turn number 3. It is Steve Kinser. He has slowed. The engine is a
truck. He has a flat right rear tire. The engine is okay, but Kinser frantically waving for his Uncle Carl and the crew. The field is still under caution here at the Chevrolet Knoxville Nationals. A caution brought out by this car and driver, Steve Kinser, the number 11 machine. He now has fresh right rear rubber, has rejoined the fray. He will restart in the 14th position.
All right, the field getting ready to go. Sweeping down the back straightaway. Remember now, the Outlaws start on the back straight. All right, Wolfgang on the throttle, leads them off. Turn number 4. But look at this. Bobby Allen and Donnie Bright, they're lap cars, and it looks like they got Blaney blocked up on the high side there. Blaney gets balked a little bit. There you can see him get kind of snugged up against the outer rail as Bright and Bobby Allen fight it out back there. So a tough break for Dave Blaney. It should slow him up a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. He was unable to run where he wanted to be on the racetrack. That cost him a little time. And how about Steve Kinser, the 11 car? He is closing on number 2, Andy Hillenburg, for the 9th position. He's moved up about 5 spots in a lap or 2.
Oh, he is a charger. It's going to be a dramatic finish here if he can move in. Look at him go by automobile. Kinser right by 29, Kenny Jacobs. There's 48, Keith Kauffman. He's in his sights now. Kinser showing that enormous power, that terrific skill and poise that he has, makes him one of the greatest of all time. Always when you see a great driver like Kinser put in a hole, as he is right now, you'll see him bring out the very best. And Kinser just maneuvering through this field like he's in another class entirely.
He's already up to 8th, the white 11 car, closing in on 48, Keith Kauffman, 29, Kenny Jacobs, showing the stuff he is made out of. Brock is with his Uncle Carl.
Well, I'm with Carl Kinser, and that is just about as bad a piece of luck as I've seen happen. What happened? Did he cut one down, or what?
Yeah, we ran over some on the racetrack. Just cut the tire down.
Well, it's just unbelievable, you know. We figured that we looked for him to really be running real hard, and of course he was, but...
the brakes.
Motor racing, I guess. Sorry, Carl.
Well, I'm glad we had this video. Who would have ever thought Carl Kinser would be philosophical about a horrible piece of luck at the Knoxville Nationals? And there is your leader, the white 8D car of Doug Wolfgang. And there's the 7C machine of Dave Blaney running in second. And there are only 3 laps left. Blaney might even be closer to the Wolf had he not been caught in traffic on that restart.
And look at number 11. Steve Kinser continues to charge. There he runs up on Kenny Jacobs in the 29 and Jack Hodenshow. Blowing by him. You know, Steve, this is not just a collection of stiffs and back markers that he's running through here. He is running past some of the fastest sprint car drivers in history, and he's blowing them off.
And he has come from 14th to 6th since the restart. An incredible display for his own pride.
Terrific. One of the great drives. He will not win this race because it's almost, he's running out of time, but it is an incredible display of skill and daring on the part of Steve Kinser, and only amplifies the fact that tough break when he cut down that tire.
All right, Doug Wolfgang, when he comes around this time, he's going to see the white flag. There it is. Doug Wolfgang is on the last lap, as is Dave Blaney running in second. The same position he was a year ago at this very moment.
Doug Wolfgang just charging away. We can only wonder what it would have been like if that other white automobile, the 11 car, had stayed right with him. But the checker is out. The moment is Doug Wolfgang's. He will win his 4th Knoxville Nationals.
And in many ways, he has won it for the crowd here. No one can dispute he had more backers than anybody else in the grandstands.
A great show on the part of the Sioux Falls, South Dakota champion, this veteran racing driver, a man who has put on great displays of driving here before. Last year we saw him charge through a whole series of disasters to finish up among the top here in the finals, but this year he wins it overall. Dave Blaney, Stevie Smith, remember him. Kinser comes up into 6th place. Andy Hillenburg rounds out the top 10. A great show by a great gang of race drivers. And now let's go down to Steve, who's with Doug Wolfgang, who's just getting out of his car.
Doug Wolfgang has won the Knoxville Nationals in a decisive manner, literally wire to wire, starting from the outside of the front row. Wolf, congratulations. Tremendous job.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Everybody looking at the left rear of the car as soon as you got out. What's going on?
Oh, on the last yellow, the inboard brake pucks fell out, and it really wasn't no big deal unless I would have got into lap traffic, but I was so stuck on the racetrack I was having to power brake it to keep it from pushing in the middle, and at the end I just had to let it go on up because it didn't have no brakes the last 4 or 5 laps.
You had the superior car. That was obvious. Was it power? Was it handling? Was it driving?
I don't think it was driving as much as I got a hell of an engine builder, John Singer, a hell of a car builder, Brian Chenet, and 2 great mechanics, Robert Hubbard and Gary Terrell, and they have done an absolute super job for me all year long.
And they have got one super shoe.
Well, I appreciate that. I try my hardest every night, and I told them earlier in the season I don't care if we win, lose, or draw, as long as they sweat as much as I do by the end of the night. That's all I ask. And they sweat every night, and I appreciate that.
A tremendous team. Doug Wolfgang, the captain, has won the Knoxville Nationals, and listen to this crowd.
And we join them in congratulating the winner. From the Knoxville Nationals, I'm Brock Yates for Steve Evans. Thanks for joining us at the greatest sprint car race of them all.